Hi everybody, JH Ludovic here again from my little bunker. Sorry about this video being a day delayed. I'm having some financial issues and worries that they're eating up my brain, and therefore I wasn't able to produce a video yesterday, even though I was supposed to. So this is this week's Tuesday Thoughts. Not that this is the second Tuesday Thoughts, so it shouldn't be too sort of. I don't think people are expecting a pattern yet, but anyways, I just wanted to apologize mostly to myself for not being able to produce it yesterday, because I wanted to talk about this since since I produced the Forgiving Yourself video yesterday or last week. And the reason why I wanted to produce this video was basically because I want to talk a little bit about mistakes and the fact that we as humans need to start being okay with other humans, especially people in creative areas, and not just creative areas, any walk of life. We need to be okay with people fucking up, making mistakes, especially in light of the online culture that we have now. It's a little crazy that we can't sort of agree on this. That it should be okay for people to fuck up. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example of sort of what that could be. And I know it's a little bit contentious, but take J.K. Rowling, for instance. Or Rowling, Bowling? I don't know. The author of the Harry Potter books. She has, as of late, gone out against the sort of gone out as what could be defined as a TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist. I don't think she necessarily is. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that, because I'm not really that affected by the debate. I have friends who are, and clearly have their opinion, and I support their right to have their opinion. But however, what I don't support is the inability to allow people who create great things, and let's be honest, Harry Potter is pretty well written, pretty good as a universe. But it's pretty awful that she is not, even though she has produced something as good as that, she's not allowed to have differing opinions, or even have any sort of leeway for stumbling along the stumbling along the way. If you're not perfect, there's no room for you, or so it seems. Would you want that standard to be applied to yourself? That's the problem. I mean, we see now there's a movement across the globe. This isn't just happening in the US and UK. Here in Norway, they are debating whether or not they should tear down the statue of Churchill in Oslo, which was erected as a thanks to both Churchill and to the UK for their help in the resistance against the Germans during the Second World War. Now, granted, I like Churchill. I like Churchill as a historical person, and I liked the fact that he was a flawed human being. And he was a flawed human being. He was very aware that he was a flawed human being. He was plagued by depression. He called it his black dog. And yes, he made mistakes. Gallipoli. Definitely one of his biggest fucking mistakes. And in addition, his behavior when the colonies wanted to separate themselves from the UK. That was also a mistake, and it doesn't even, I wouldn't even dare to assume otherwise. Just noticed something in the camera, and I'm not even gonna say. But, mistakes. Mistakes were made. So, yeah. But the fact is, that a man like that, who did so many great things in his life, yet he is judged for something that we would find morally reprehensible now, holding an opinion that is morally reprehensible now. And it is. That doesn't take away the good that he did. It doesn't take away the gratitude that I, as a Norwegian, and as someone who would definitely be on Hitler's shit list, considering my ethnic background, that I wouldn't show gratitude towards Churchill for fighting against Hitler and honoring him for the person he was at his best. And that is what we need to think about. Yes, people are flawed. But who were they at their best? And don't even come to me with the Hitler equivalence, because yes, he loved dogs. That doesn't sort of make up for the fact that he killed or was responsible for the death of tens of millions of people. We need to be able to forgive people. And we need to be able to see people as flawed. Yes, we need to have ideals, and those ideals are represented in the stories that we tell each other about the person. But it's okay to like someone who's flawed. And there needs to be room for mistakes, especially for creative people, because we are so tied to the ability to sort of explore areas that we're not supposed to be in. That's the role of an author. That's the role of a novelist. That's the role of a storyteller, is to explore areas that is barely on a conscious level for the rest of society. That is why books like To Kill a Mockingbird is a brilliant book. Because at that time there wasn't any idea regarding something like that. It was barely in the consciousness of other humans. That's what is important. That's what's... And in addition, there's also the idea you're gonna fuck up in your life. And would you want to be met with the kind of vitriol and hate that some people who make missteps during their life? There's the story of the prodigal son in the Bible. Now, people know I'm not a religious person, but I do think there is some value to religious thought and religious stories, because they use parables, and they use settings to be able for us to play out scenarios, not be told what to do, but to contemplate scenarios which we have no idea what we would actually do in a certain situation. I mean, we may think that we know what we would do in a certain situation, but we don't know for sure. So we need to let that play out in a good storytelling situation. And the parable of the prodigal son is basically the idea of forgiving someone who is flawed and allowing them to come back into the grace of home, basically. And even if they fucked up royally, allow them back in and allow them to feel like they're human. Now, for someone like me, this is very important, because I feel like I'm fucking up every second of my life. I don't think I've trod... Well, I have done things right, of course, but having the ability to forgive people for their mistakes, even if it's yourself, is very important. Sorry, this was a bit rambly and jolty because I'm holding my cell phone in my right arm, which those who know me may know that it's a damaged right arm. There's some nerve damage in it, so it shakes a bit. But anyways, thank you guys for listening, and remember, just forgive people their mistakes. They're just human.